See if this fixes it. Dude. It had something to do with the desktop audio, and I can like hear myself. This is so weird. I don't know if it's coming from your end or the screen share. Are you guys hearing an echo on the live feed? It was echoing, but it's not now. Okay. All right. This is so bonkers. Okay. I'd like to introduce you guys to my special guest today. And I'm sorry, I'm still getting echoing on my end. So bear with me. I'm going to try and fix this. But John is going to introduce himself and kind of talk about what he does a little bit. And it is an absolute pleasure to have you here, John. Go ahead. The floor is yours. Wait, you're muted. Oh my God. Yeah, hold on. Is your volume turned up on your end? Yeah, I can hear you, but I just want to make sure your volume isn't turned up. I'm trying to figure out why I'm getting feedback. Yeah, I can hear you, but I just want to make sure your volume isn't turned up. I'm trying to figure out why I'm getting feedback. Yeah, I can hear you, but I just want to make sure your volume isn't turned up. Oh my God. You guys, I'm trying to figure out why I'm getting feedback. Yeah, I can hear you, but I just want to make sure your volume isn't turned up. Oh my god. You guys, I'm trying to figure out why I'm getting feedback. Yeah, I can hear you, but I just want to make sure your volume isn't turned up.
Anybody?
I'm trying to figure out why I'm getting feedback. Yeah, I can hear you, but I just want to make sure your volume isn't turned up. Oh my god. I'm trying to figure out why I'm getting feedback. Yeah, I can hear you, but I just want to make sure your volume isn't turned up. Oh my god. I'm trying to figure out why I'm getting feedback. Yeah, I can hear you, but I just want to make sure your volume isn't turned up. I'm trying to figure out why I'm getting feedback. Yeah, I can hear you, but I just want to make sure your volume isn't turned up. I'm trying to figure out why I'm getting feedback.
Okay. Okay. Testing. I am talking. I am talking. Hopefully not echoing and blasting through everybody's eardrums. Testing. I am talking. I am talking. Hopefully not echoing and blasting through everybody's eardrums. Testing. I am talking. I am talking. Hopefully not echoing and blasting through everybody's eardrums. Testing. I am talking. I am talking. Hopefully not echoing and blasting through everybody's eardrums. Yeah. Yep. Testing. I just turned up the volume on my end. Testing, testing, everybody. Echo chamber. Am I coming through and making your eardrums bleed? I just turned up the volume on my end. Testing, testing, everybody. Echo chamber. Am I coming through and making your eardrums bleed? I just turned up the volume on my end. Testing, testing, everybody. Echo chamber. Am I coming through and making your eardrums bleed? I just turned up the volume on my end. Testing, testing, everybody. Echo chamber. Am I coming through and making your eardrums bleed? Oh, thank you, Jade. I appreciate that. I'm a big fan of your stuff as well. I know you and I have talked about this privately, but I do think that you actually have excellent production quality on your stuff, and I'm a big fan. So yeah, thank you for the intro. I do a lot of feature film, and I also do a lot of commercial work. And for what I do on my channel is I like to do tech reviews, that sort of thing. You know, it's the sort of gear I use for filmmaking, and I also do a lot of arcade one-up reviews and stuff like that as well. But yeah, it's we having audio issues again. Oh no, I'm seeing the chat. You guys can hear me still? Oh no. I'm seeing the chat. That's weird with the echo. I'm not sure because I don't have any volume up on my end. Everything's just coming through my Bluetooth headphones here.
Yeah, you should be good though.
Because I don't have any volume up on my end. Everything's just. They're saying they can't hear you now though.
Yeah, you should be good though. No, I've got mine coming through. I don't know what happened, but when we did the intro, it basically made it so that I'm getting like a delay. So what they're seeing, I'm basically getting that audio delay. But go ahead, continue.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So that's just that's pretty much what I do. I have a background in film, and I like to do a lot of commercial work, feature film, that sort of stuff. But like the arcade one I've seen is a big new thing for me because I have started out with, I started out with like I think I started out with Final Fight was my first one, and then just sort of took off from there, and I've been getting into these more and more. So now it's just become a full-on problem where I'm getting rid of furniture to sort of make room for the addiction and keep this going. So
I'm trying to figure out where the problem is. All right, can you guys hear me okay without an echo? Nope, because I can hear my echo. Dude. Yeah, just low volume for me. Oh, John is low. Now he's gone. Well, I'm getting two different things. You guys, what the hell? Okay. Um, okay, John, give me a moment. I'm going to pull you off the screen share, okay? You guys, I am really sorry about this. It was not expected. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that. And let's see if that kind of fixes the issue. Yeah, I mean, the weird thing is that I don't know where the echo is coming from because we didn't have it when we were testing before the show. Like, there was absolutely no audio issues at all. Um, and I would love to have him talking right now. Well, I am right. No echo now from me. This is unacceptable. I know, you guys. I need to be hazed. Um, so you guys aren't hearing an echo from me. Let's see. I'm just trying to see where the issue is with this audio. So I have you right here. I'm trying to check the video input. Okay, no echo. That's good. Window capture. OBS getting me. What time does Michael B's show start? Oh, he's going to just roll right over me. Okay, so let's see. Guest. This is brutal. Absolutely brutal. And you guys still are not capturing him, right? Video capture, that's me. That's good. All right, here you are. Let's take a look at your audio feed. Capture. Oh, this might be why. Okay. All right. Now how? Am I echoey? Hold on, don't say anything yet, John. All right. Now how? If I am not echoey and you guys can hear me, then I think we might be good. If I am not echoey and you guys can hear me, then I think we might be good. Okay, go ahead and speak, John, and let's see if... Oh, God damn it, there's an echo. 49 people with... Okay, go ahead and speak, John, and let's see if... Oh, God damn it, there's an echo.
Yeah,
40... No. No. I cannot, like, even deal with this right now. And the weird thing is that I don't have, like, an option to get your audio on here and control it, which is odd. Yep, fragmented. Well, guys, John is going to be our silent guest for a moment. Well, I kind of talked to you really quick. So the plan is for this is that once I get things fixed with John, he's going to talk about what he does, and um, eventually we're going to work our way into talking about some retro consoles. And the end goal is to get you guys to the drawing for the free copy of Pokken Tournament DX on Nintendo Switch. Okay, and again, I am so sorry. I really don't know why I'm having this issue, and I'm trying to check all of my feeds right now because I've never had an issue quite like this. It's really bizarre. Um, oh, here we go. Guys, I fixed it. I just fixed it. Oh my God. How did I even do that? Okay. Problem solved, guys. Nope, we're good to go now. All right, I'm going to unmute our guest, and he should be good. Go ahead, John.
What's up? Can you guys hear me? See me? Do I exist? Am I a real person?
Oh, there we go. There we go. All right, my apologies. So, here is our awesome guest, John, aka JC Art on YouTube, and I am now going to let him restart, fresh start, deep breath, and he's going to talk about his awesome YouTube content and some of the stuff that he does. And the floor is yours, John, for the third time. A charm.
Cool. Thank you, Jade. I appreciate you having me on. I'm a big fan of your stuff, and you and I have been talking about this for a little bit, and it's just good to be here. It's nice to meet someone who shares a passion for old school video games and arcades and stuff like that. I'm also a big fan of the production quality of your work. And myself, I'm a filmmaker, and I do a lot of commercial work, a lot of weddings and stuff like that right now. It's that time of the year, but that's getting all wrapped up. But I do a lot of commercial work, feature films, that sort of thing, and I do a lot of tech reviews on my channel and do a lot of arcade one-up reviews. This is one of those things that started off real small for me. Started off with like Final Fight, and now I've had 16 of them. I have 12 of them now, but I had 16. I got rid of a few of them to make some room, and I did just get rid of a bar that I had sitting in a room in our part of my house. I cleared out the bar because I was like, if I get rid of that bar, I can fit like four more in there, and I am definitely going to be doing that. MVSX is next on the list. I'm coming for it. But yeah, it's good to be here. Thank you.
You are very welcome, and it's a pleasure to have you here. So, John and I, we met actually around the time I was doing my review for the Shinku cab, and
Yep.
he has a review out for that. And so I just wanted to show you like a quick clip from his review, and it's mostly his B-roll, but I just wanted you guys to kind of see the quality of his stuff because he really does have nice quality. If you don't follow him, check his content out and give him a follow. Also does like very standard. He likes to put light up coin doors on all of his one-ups as soon as he gets him. And generally speaking, if he's going to do something, he does it kind of like right in the beginning, and you usually get to see how he does it and what he's using and that whole process. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this up to show you guys, and hopefully the audio works, you know. Sheesh.
Hopefully.
Here we go.
Tiger! Yoga Ray! Hadouken!
guys, welcome back to the channel. I am John, and it has been a minute. Been busy, summer, wedding season. It's sort of my go-to time right now for my business, keeping things a little busy right now. But I just got a new addition into the arcade that I'm very excited about. We're going to get into today. This guy right here. We have the Super Street Fighter 2 Legacy 2 Limited Shinku Hadoken Edition. That's a lot to say. But this is a replacement for my previous Street Fighter 2 Legacy cabinet, which after getting the new Mortal Kombat 2 Legacy, really sort of helped me make that decision because I really wasn't a fan of the viewing angles on that at all. I thought it was a pretty good looking cabinet, but the viewing angles weren't the best. And just in comparison to having Killer Instinct and that Mortal Kombat 30th standing next to it, it just seemed way smaller in general, and this new Street Fighter 2 cabinet has the same exact framework as the new MK30th, which...
Alright, so, just to give you guys a little sample, I mean, very cool stuff, and like he's very analytical as well, which I appreciate, like in his approach to things and his comparisons and stuff. So anyways, check his channel out. He does a lot of cool stuff, and we're talking about right now, we're kind of like in the works, discussing like maybe doing some projects together and stuff like that. So exciting things on the forefront. And I totally agree with that, bona fide. So anyways,
Thanks, bud. Appreciate that.
John, do you have anything in the works right now as far as your channel goes for gaming?
Yes, actually, I do. I have a Ridge Racer cabinet that was just the bane of my existence putting together, and that is easily the hardest thing I've had to make, and I really am looking forward to making a video on that guy. And then this guy right here, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I've been waiting to put that together. I really wanted to take my time with that review because as I continue to play it, more things continue to surprise me, and not in the good way. So that's something I'm taking my time on. I just really want to make sure I'm pretty thorough. I'm kind of, like you said, I'm a little more analytical, and I can tend to be a little dry in my reviews because I try to be a little, I don't know, I try to be played fair. I try to, discuss the pros and
Yeah, you're
cons.
not dry. Have you ever seen my content? I'm like paint drying on a wall half the time.
I think that just goes with the territory when we get you and I both get like passionate about the things we enjoy, and we're both pretty technical. We're tech geeks, so that definitely comes through. But MVC2 and Ridge Racer, I should have something come out for that. And if you like film or cameras or anything like that, I'm shooting now on the new Fuji film H2S. I got a pair of those, and I'm going to be putting together a review for that as well. Just if there's anyone out there who's a filmmaking nerd or a camera nerd, so a couple of things in the works.
Very cool. So to caveat off that, so we are going to kind of focus today more on like retro gaming as far as consoles go, and I want to talk a little bit about the pickups that I just got as well, but I don't want to go like too crazy on that because there's so much work to be done, guys. But we both kind of came up with this idea, and we were like, hey, we should talk about like what our favorite and worst consoles are. And I know this is fun. It's going to get like the chat fired up because,
Yeah.
Everybody's like got their own piece of nostalgia for each console that kind of like gets their soul burning, in a happy way. And so they feel very, very loyal to that. So
Those are the best conversations. Those are the best kinds of conversations when people get fired up about it. I love that. It's the
right.
best.
So I'm going to go ahead and let John start off with what his favorite, and I don't know, you can play it however you want, John, but start off with your favorite and, hit all the way to the worst, but let's have it. Let's hear it.
Yeah. So when you and I were talking about this, when we came up with this idea, I think our stipulation was um, your favorite based on the thing that really, really like solidified you as a gamer, I guess. Um, and that made me think twice about what we were getting into because if I'm being honest, um, you know, born in 1980, so saw all the consoles, all the things growing up, had all of them. Um, Technically, that would be Nintendo, but I'm not going to go with Nintendo on this because, well, Nintendo was like my intro to gaming, and I love Nintendo. It's one of the things that like drew me to gaming. I think I had a better understanding of video games with the Super Nintendo, and I think the Super Nintendo is my all-time favorite console ever. Um, Not only because it's the one that when it came out, really meant a lot to me, but because I think over the years it's honestly one of the ones that's held up the best. Especially when you look back at like old 3D gaming, because a lot of the old 3D consoles, you and I talked about this like last week or something like that in kind of preparation for this, but a lot of those old 3D consoles, in my personal opinion, I don't think they hold up very well at all. Like the new thing with everybody getting all into Nintendo 64. It's like I don't know what shade of nostalgia glasses you're wearing with the Nintendo 64, but barely any of those games hold up. Like I don't know if you tried playing Ocarina of Time lately. Eh, sad, but
Which
Super
version?
Nintendo.
Which version of
Any
Ocarina?
version, honestly. Yeah, I've had, and that's the game I beat like half a dozen or more times growing up. Like I played that game so much back in the day when it came out, and trying to revisit it now is just like the advance in gameplay with 3D has been so huge that it doesn't age as well as 2D, whereas 2D is just sort of it's sort of a constant. Like you can make a 2D game good now that still feels like an old game, and those just gameplay mechanics still work because they're just tried and true. Whereas old 3D had a lot of kinks in it and camera work and this the textures. It just doesn't look that good. It doesn't control that good. But yeah, Super Nintendo for me would be my all-time favorite console ever. How about yourself? I'm dying to know.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like I wasn't exactly expecting that answer, but I mean, I could see why. I could see why you would say that. I mean, I totally think that the SNES is an amazing console, and obviously there's the Nintendo aspect of it. One of the interesting things about like that era of console gaming is that it was like in a time where exclusivity was like very separated, like Genesis and Super Nintendo both had their own exclusive titles, and you weren't going to, you know, um, none of those were going to be crossed over to the other or ported or whatever for those exclusive ones. For example, Vector Man was never going to be on Super Nintendo. Mario was never going to be on Genesis. Sonic was never going to be on Super Nintendo, etc., etc. So it is a very interesting time frame for console gaming because now, a lot of these companies have, kind of crossed over and um, they're sharing the same picture, so to speak. Uh, so I see a lot of people saying Dreamcast, N64, Dreamcast. Um, and so me, I had a really hard time. Like I actually like mapped this out because I started on an Atari 400 and 400 800, and it was really difficult for me to say like that there's one that's my favorite of all time because I feel like the Atari 400 and 800 is kind of what made me a gamer actually. But I would say that, and I also used to go to the arcades a lot. And how often did you go to the
Same.
arcade when you were a kid?
Oh, all the time. Especially when I was in high school, I had one that was like right down the road in the mall. It was called the Dream Machine, and it was in a place called the Methuen Mall in Massachusetts, and it was like right down the street from the school, and I would just walk from school and just go down there and just Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct, like every day after school, just playing people, quarters up on the glass, and it was just the best time. That was a huge thing for me back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah, so I used to go, we had like Bally's Aladdin's Castle, and I used to go to those. And anyways, so I actually got a Sega Genesis when they had the Altered Beast package. My dad got me one.
Nice.
And I was over at his house like a couple weeks ago, and the freaking box to that thing is still in his garage, but I don't
That's
couldn't tell
awesome.
you where the console is. But anyways, we went to like this mom and pop gaming shop in Orange County, and they had, I remember that was the first time I saw a Neo Geo, and they had a Neo Geo and a Sega Genesis. So this must have been like 1991, 1990. Um, and anyways, I got the Genesis. Altered Beast was one of those games that I played alongside like Golden Axe in the arcades and
Yes.
Moonwalker. That whole generation of like Sega games that I just like love. So the Genesis was like one of those consoles that they released or ported a lot of cool arcade games to, like Fatal Fury, Shadow Dancer,
Yep.
Moonwalker, even though it was trash, and a slew of other games, Golden Axe, and so many good games. And so I like really had to think about it because I had a TurboGrafx 16 at one point in NES,
What?
but
You did not. You had a TurboGrafx 16?
oh yeah, oh yeah.
I never knew anyone who had a TurboGrafx 16 or a Neo Geo. In my entire life, I never knew anyone who had one of those runs. That was always like the holy grail of like game consoles. But I'm sorry to interrupt your thought, but that
No,
amazes me
it's
that
all
you had
good.
one of those.
Yeah, I actually, if just quick side story on that, I had a kid at school who his parents were like doctors, and they got him a Turbo Express, and I was like, good God, that's amazing because I mean, even as a kid, I was like, I can't believe that there's a color handheld, and this was like right around the time that Game Boy came out, that can play the console games. You just unplug it from the console and plug the card into there. I'm like, what? And I thought it was the coolest thing because he was playing Bonk on it. But anyways,
Bonk. Nice.
my my favorite console that kind of made me a gamer, I honestly have to say credit goes to the Genesis.
That's
Um,
fair.
so that's the story behind it, and that's really where my head was at. But it was like it was a tough one, and yeah, uh, this is a cool. Let's see, Neo Geo was the Holy Grail. TurboGrafx 16 was the dumpster fire. Mike, how could you say such a thing? No, but Neo Geo, I mean, when I saw that console for the first time, I remember asking my dad, I was like, oh, can we get that instead of the Sega? And he was like, yeah, it's a little bit out of our price range. Um, and so obviously I never got a Neo Geo, but anyways, yeah, that
Console
was mine.
fanboy.
And we've got
That's
a
awesome.
question here
That's
from
awesome.
Console Fanboy. Hey JC, how much longer before you sell your MK30?
That's a good question, but that one's not going anywhere. As you can see, I upgraded the monitor. I did do the monitor upgrade, so that thing is not going anywhere. In fact, if anything, if they reskin the MK30th, even though it would have the same exact amount of games on it, I was always a bigger MK2 fan versus MK. So if they put out an MK2 that's the same as this and hopefully has a better monitor in it, but even if it doesn't, I'll buy another one because I'm a psychopath. I probably would buy it just to put it next to it to have that completion. That's the level of insanity I think I'm getting to now. But this guy's not going anywhere. This MK30 is I love this cabinet. It's probably my one of my favorite ones that I have right now. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I know. And he said nice cage artwork because I was thinking the same thing. Like, did you just get the sticker or did you get the whole side piece? Because I just want the sticker.
Yeah, I just did the sticker. I didn't want to go like vinyl is such a pain that I didn't want to have to deal with bubbles and stuff like that, which would almost certainly happen with doing the whole side panel. So I just
Yeah.
figured this was
And I
easier.
don't like
Yeah.
the idea of having to cut around it either in case you like graze the
Yeah.
cheap T molding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
but uh, yeah, so you just got a sub right there. Anyways,
So thank you.
Neo Geo Gold was expensive for no reason. Yeah, well, but the big thing about Neo Geo was that you could take like the memory card and put it in the arcade machine, and that was like so cool. Plus the arcade machines you could use headphones with. Um, did you follow? Somebody
19K
asked if
Fox.
you
Yeah.
followed 19K Fox's video for the screen. But
Yeah, I
anyways,
did. Yeah. Yeah. That's the method I used. Yep. Works very well. I highly recommend it. You have to do a little figuring out on some of it because there's a couple things he missed in there, but it's pretty easy. It's pretty much just remove the casing and plug and play. It's pretty easy. It's not that hard.
it's
It's well,
literally
it's
it's literally plug and play.
yeah, yeah. It's the best upgrade you can make too. It makes such a difference. It's huge.
The seller that I got mine from on eBay, it was only 75 bucks. I mean,
That's a good deal.
it
Yeah.
sucks that that you have to do that, but at the same time, like for 75 bucks, it's like not that bad.
Well,
Um,
question for you on stuff like that is like, does that annoy you, or are you that like vested in this as like a hobby and as something that you enjoy that you don't even think about it and it's just something you're gonna do regardless?
I mean, at this point, it's just refining a lot of things for me. So
Mm,
it's, for me, like definitely if I'm getting, well, when I got that cab, automatically I already ordered a monitor. You know, I was like, there's
yeah,
no way I'm gonna have anything that looks crappy in this collection because I mean, I'm not going back to that like Gen 1 era of monitors.
it was worse than the Gen 1. I had Gen 1s that were next to it and like they didn't do that. That was a that was bad. It was terrible. That monitor that's stock in this thing is garbage. It's garbage. Like if you're buying it, buy a new monitor. It's the best
Yeah,
thing you can do.
yeah.
Uh,
But the other thing that I noticed too is, and we're getting off track here for a minute, but the other thing that I noticed is that the so I don't know if it's the emulator or like the video output or what, but like the screen has like this weird like grain in the graphics, which is if you look at some of the other versions, they don't. And there's another arcade one up cab that has that same thing. Oops. And so I don't know if it's like the emulator that they use on that particular model or what. And guys, I just have to interject real quick and apologize. So I'm actually sick right now. So if I sound like Selma and Patty from The Simpsons, that's why. I apologize that you guys have to hear my super scratchy voice right now. Okay, let's get back on track. We got
sure.
we got to get back on track. Okay, so what's the worst? I want to hear this. What is your worst of all time?
The worst console I think of all time. Damn. Uh,
You're supposed to be prepared
Oddly,
for this. What?
I know. It's just like right now. I think it's a tie between. No, I can't even say it's a tie. It would have to be the Nintendo Wii. The Nintendo Wii was by far the worst console. I think I had maybe two games for that thing that I liked. I just wound up like modding that thing so it could do like it just became like an all-in-one. Just because there was nothing on that. There was like yeah, I hated the Wii. The Wii was I have like a visceral like hatred for the Wii. Like I really despise that console, but I appreciate the things that it wound up doing. Like I didn't even own the Wii U because I hated the Wii that much and I didn't see the points. But I do appreciate the things that came out of the Wii being the Wii U, and then the Wii U turning into the Switch, which the Switch is. I think the Switch like right now is my favorite console that I have of modern consoles, and I've got the PS5 and the new Xbox and stuff. But the Switch is just marvelous. But the I think that all stems from how terrible the Wii was in a way. I think that was sort of like the where that all started, if that makes any sense. But yeah, the Wii. I hate the Wii very, very much.
Oh man, I did not expect that one. Um, but I can see what your reasoning is, but I actually loved the Wii. And yeah, I think Console Fanboy just said Mario Galaxy and Mario Galaxy 2, which I thought were so great coming back from Mario Sunshine, which I wasn't really that into it. But that's just kind of like my personal thing. I thought the Wii was pretty cool. Plus, then eventually it got hacked, and it was like, oh yay. Um,
Wii hack was huge. Yeah, that was awesome.
yeah. So, anyways, so mine is going to be. Uh, I'm gonna get. I know I'm gonna get a lot of like burn for this, but PS3 is my
Yeah, that's fair.
personal worst. Um, I just like there wasn't that many exclusives on it, and it was at a weird time where um, they were talking about starting to trickle games from Sony to PC,
Mm.
and you could also kind of crossplay if you had Xbox and Windows. Uh, so yeah, I had a 360, and I don't know. So I just thought that the amount of games didn't outweigh the exclusives that were on PS3, and I feel like PS3 for some reason was kind of like, this is just totally in my mind because I just wasn't into that one, and I had a PS2 and everything. But it was just short lived. And most of the cool games that were exclusives on it ended up being cross compatible. And then you had PS4, and you had some cool games come on there, but then they started trickling everything over to PC as well. So then I was like, oh, I don't really need to get a PS4 because I have the PC crossplay, and then they released games like Horizon and stuff. So um,
Yeah.
360 was sweet, PS2 was boo. But
I think the I can understand that with the PS3. See, I always get every console just because I want to be able to play every game. I like games, so I want to be able to play whatever I think is going to be interesting. And the PS3, I would probably agree with you in a lot of respects. I can understand that because, like you're saying, like there wasn't a lot of first party stuff that was necessarily great, but at the same time, that was the only place where I was going to be playing like Uncharted or God of War or Last of Us, that sort of thing. So, and
right,
since I want to be able to play those, like, to me, and it's the same thing with my PS5 right now. I've got maybe like three games for my PS5, but those are games that I can't get anywhere else, and to me, that's worth it to be able to play those. So, like God of War, like we were talking about this before the show. New God of War comes out in a couple weeks, and there's no way I'm not playing that. And Ghost of Tsushima, I can't play Ghost of Tsushima anywhere else, and that's like I think one of the best games ever made. So, like
well, and
I think it's always a reason.
I have to say this too, Biggie. It's not that PS3 wasn't a good console. It's just that most of the games that I wanted to play were on Xbox, and that was also the time that, and we can't forget about this, that Bandai Namco um, started releasing the Tekken series onto the Xbox 360, and I was like, "Oh man, this is cool," because it's not like an exclusive to PlayStation. So there's all these other games on Xbox that I'd like to play, and so I think Xbox was just more appealing to me. Um, so it's not that I thought the PS3 was like a garbage system. It's just it wasn't appealing to me. It was like the least appealing probably. And that was also in that kind of weird time frame where consoles were slowly kind of starting to tail on like PC quality gaming. Um, of course, they were not up to that standard, but they were starting to get there. It wasn't like N64 versus the PC version of Quake 2. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, so I don't know, but that's just my kind of thought process on it. So what do you guys think? Put your favorite and least favorite. So just favorite slash least favorite. Like I'm curious to see what the chat says. Um, favorite versus least favorite. And with that being said, uh, for your top 5 games, John, what do you have?
Top five games. Battle. I just want to touch real quick. Sorry about this. Battles. PS3 had Killzone 2, which was amazing. Yes, Killzone was a very underrated shooter series that not a lot of people play. Killzone was a lot of fun. They had a really cool story. It was very dark. But my favorite, I'm sorry, would you say favorite games for the Super Nintendo?
Top 5 games.
Top five games for the Super Nintendo. I will start with my number five, work my way up. Super Mario World. I still think that is, I still think that is the best Mario game ever made. That game is just perfection. I love that game. Um, Donkey Kong Country, the original Donkey Kong Country is still an amazing game. That game is so hard. That is still one of the the most difficult side-scrolling platformers ever. That game is just brutal. Uh, let's see. Final Fantasy 3 or Final Fantasy 6, whichever one, if you, whichever way you want to call it. But I believe it was released here as Final Fantasy 3. That's like a game that I love so much that I would put like a tape into a tape deck and hook up the TV to it so I could record the music from the game because that game had the best music. And then Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger would be up
Mm,
there because
that's a good
that's a
one.
game that I actually beat to the point where all of my stats were like starred out. Like if you maxed out a stat, it would become a star. And I did that for every single character. And I actually got that game. I beat that game so much to the point where I could start a new game and beat Lavos right at the beginning in the fair with just Chrono and no one else in your team. I beat the hell out of that game. I love Chrono Trigger. But my all-time number one favorite game for the Super Nintendo was a little unknown game by Namco called Metal Marines, and that was and still is I think one of the best strategy games ever made. I just recently beat that this past year for the first time. I've been trying to beat that since I was a kid, and I finally beat it. And that's if you've never heard of Metal Marines, I highly recommend checking that out. That game is it's still super hard to this day, and there's all this. There's so much you can do with it, especially in a Super Nintendo game, and it's got such amazing strategy and depth to it for something that's um, as old as it is. It's a very, very fun game. Highly recommend it. What about you? I'm dying to know.
Well, before I hit that, I just wanted to say, because this reminded me, while I did not have a PS3, I did have a PSP. And Resistance was one of those games that I was super excited when it came out on the PSP because that was like one of the only games that I wanted to play. It was like that Last of Us, and I feel like there was like one other one that I really wanted a PS3 for, but just couldn't justify it being enough to buy it. So when that came out, I played it on my PSP and literally beat the hell out of that game. Like it was such a cool game. But anyways, I just wanted to address that really quick because that's a good point. That game is really good, especially the first two, I think, and the ones on PSP.
I like the first one. The first Resistance was awesome. I totally agree. That first one, it had so many guns and it had a cool alien story. That was a fun game. That first Resistance, absolutely, it was
Yeah.
a good one.
Um, so okay, so my top 5, and this is like really difficult because there are so many good ones. I feel like really any of these could be good. Um, but anyways, in no particular order, on the Sega Genesis, Altered Beast, Street Fighter
Nice.
2 CE, the Special Edition, Shadow Dancer, Golden Axe, and what does that say? Oh, Sonic, duh.
You can't go wrong with some Sonic.
Yeah, but I really like Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 were like my favorite ones, and then Sonic CD when I eventually got to play that, I thought was just incredible. Um, so yeah, those are mine. Now, to caveat that, one of my other favorite consoles that was like next level up, and I loved the PlayStation. Like, I have this thing between the N64 and the PlayStation, just depending on what game we're talking about or whatever. They're just both really cool consoles that were kind of like next level. PlayStation 1 was next level when it came out, and
Yeah.
then you had N64, which was more clunky, but they had games like Pilot Wings, Mario 64, Star Fox, Mario Kart, KI Gold. And those are all notable games for me as well. Uh, so yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to honorable mention the N64 because it was one that I had a lot of games that I spent so much time playing on. And KI Gold, even though you hate the N64, you got to admit that was pretty nice.
Well, as a Killer Instinct fan, and to touch on something Cyber Siles 2077 here was saying, just giving me a hard time about the N64, and it's cool that like I see a lot of people like that have like a nostalgia for the 64 right now, and for me personally, I just don't understand it because it's one of those consoles I've tried to revisit, and it just gets worse upon every revisit. Like the N64 then wasn't very good, and it didn't get any better with age. Like even things like everyone likes to talk about like Double O Seven. That game is a terrible game by today's standards. Like that game is unplayably bad. And the same with like Perfect Dark. Like that's a game that I loved Perfect Dark when it came out. And I tried to replay that and I'm like, this doesn't hold up very well at all. Like it looks bad, the story's ridiculous. Like it's just like some things don't age well. And for me personally, like again, this is just me personally, it's like sometimes I gotta take off the nostalgia glasses and look at something as like, does it hold up now? Like, is it still good now? Like, a good example of this, we were talking about PlayStation, is like the original Resident Evil games. Those are borderline unplayable now. Like, then
No
that's why I'm
way.
excited about the remake. Yeah, I have a buddy of mine who I get into this with all the time. It's like I hate the original. I will not play an old Resident Evil game on anything again. I can't be bothered. They're so bad. Like that's why I'm so excited about the remakes they're putting out because they're so much better as a game. Like they're good. They're good as a game. Like they play well. It still has like the same horror vibe, but they're just modernized and they're better. Like it's taking that same idea and redoing it. I just like again like that's why I think the Super Nintendo and you mentioned the Genesis. The Genesis will still hold up really well too because just fundamentally as a game it ages well because the mechanics are solid. Like it doesn't. It's not relying on things that as time goes on get outdated and get perfected and get made better. A 2D game is still going to be a 2D game. You know what I mean? I just but again, that's just me personally. I wanted to give you a little insight into that because it's not just me spewing hate for the 64 or like the old 3D systems. It's just I appreciate them for what they brought and what they did for gaming in general and like where gaming is now because it wouldn't exist without them. And I owned all of them, but I just think that revisiting them, I just don't think they hold up that well. But that's just me. I'm glad everyone likes them that likes them.
Yeah, no, I mean like I agree that the mechanics on a lot of 64 games were very clunky. In many different ways. I was never hugely into 007 because I always felt like the mechanics were clunky even back then.
Mhm.
Um, Especially like when you have games like Quake 3 and stuff like that, Arena, where it was like really fast paced first person, PvP and death
Yep.
stuff like that. But anyways, but games like Super Mario 64 I thought were like really polished and somebody mentioned Wave Race and there's a couple others. But anyways, I can see the point that you're making with that. So fair enough. But moving on, guys. So this is really great. Like, I love the interaction that we're getting from the chat on this.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
like
It's great.
it's totally you guys you guys totally wait, Quake 3. Oh man, see, I was so disappointed with the version that was on Dreamcast because it didn't have I mean, you couldn't play it with a keyboard, and I was all about that keyboard life when I started playing, Quake 3 Arena. But console fanboy thinks N64 is the goat. We know he's a huge N64 fan. Um,
More power to you, brother. I'm glad you love it. There's a lot of people who love the 64. I'm glad you still do. That's
so,
awesome.
anyways, moving on to our next spot here, everybody. We are going to be talking about should we do favorite cabs first or should we do
Hmm.
pipe dream cabs?
What do you think? What do you feel on here? Because That's a
I
tough one
think
to
we should do
choose.
pipe dreams.
Let's make it happen. Why don't you start with this one? Let's put the pressure on you.
Okay, so are we talking about real cabs or one-ups? Like home arcade cabs? What are we talking about here? We never
Well, you
delineated.
we didn't, and you do dive into the real cabs. I'm exclusively a one-up guy, so
So
I will just say
you would never get a real cab.
no, just because of the maintenance.
What
The
if it was a
maintenance is
Donkey Kong?
see, what do you gonna do me like that? Because that's a low blow. That is, you have that Donkey Kong cabinet you have is beautiful. Why don't we just say whatever your dream cab would be, regardless of if it's one up or an actual one? Let's just say whatever you're vibing.
Okay. I'm gonna start with like my like dream cabs, which would be Discs of Tron. The upright environmental is awesome, but it's like too big. And one of the differences, by the way, between those two cabs is that the environmental version had like the voice of Sark in it. So, as you're playing, you're like standing in this big thing and you can hear Sark screaming at you. But anyways, the upright version is still really cool. It's almost the shape of a Tron, and it just has the coolest side art. So anyways, Discs of Tron, upright. A DK Junior would be really cool, but I
Yeah.
would settle for like a 60 in one upgrade kit. And then a big blue, like a big blue Gen 2 probably. And, if any of that translated over to Arcade 1 Up and they actually did a good job on it, which is, I don't know. But I might be tempted to buy it because, like, especially Discs of Tron, good God, that is such a hard cab to find out in the wild. Anyways, that's kind of mine, and I would definitely say that those translate to like if Arcade One Up were ever able to produce something like that. But I really have like this love-hate relationship with Arcade One Up, so it's hard to say for sure. But go ahead,
Yeah, yeah, that's fair.
grace us with your loves, your
My
wishes.
loves, my wishes. So this is mine's going to be exclusively arcade one up. I am dying for Smash TV. I love Smash TV. Um, I want that very very badly. Um, I would also love to see um, Rygar. I loved Rygar in the arcades. That was a favorite of mine. Rygar in the arcade rules. I would love to see a port of that. And I think the thing that I would like to see the most is something that you mentioned, and it's something I'll never ever get to see because Nintendo doesn't play well with others. But I would love a Donkey Kong cab. But honestly, what are the chances of that happening? But those are pipe dreams. Smash TV, I feel like is pretty plausible, but I'm hoping for that one. I'm like kind of after the MVSX, like I'm just gonna stop for a little while because if they do put out Smash TV, I need space for that.
Well, you never know. You might find a Donkey Kong in the wild. I'm telling you, I like just sometimes go on there and see exactly what I'm looking for.
Your Donkey Kong is that's a beautiful cabinet. That thing's great. Like it looks like that's in great condition too. That thing
Well,
is
it was
stunning.
pretty jacked up when I got it though. Have you seen
Was
that
it?
video?
I don't know that I have yet. I know you sent me some pictures of like some of the work you've done on it, but like I can't imagine like all of the work that's gone into it because as it is now, it's very pristine and gorgeous. It's a beautiful arcade. It really is.
Well, thank you. But yeah, you should check out that video because you see where it starts off, and it basically it came out of a house fire, so
That's
it was looking
awesome.
rough on the outside, but I mean it was together, and the internals worked, so it was actually a really cool find. But um, I'm chat. I apologize. I'm trying to keep up. You guys are fun, and there's a lot of chat in here, so um, I'm getting a little bit behind, but forgive me, please. Okay, so favorite cabs, and this is like we're talking about ownership, right?
Yeah, the one fair favorites that we own. Yep.
Okay, your turn.
My turn, huh? If I had to pick a top three of my favorite cabs that I own right now, I think my Tempest is way up there. I think that thing's just beautiful, and Tempest is such a fun game. All those games on there, that Atari cabinet's really, really good. Um, Killer Instinct was a big get for me. Um, and that's a game that I lived for Killer Instinct back in school, back when I was a kid. And having that now is just like something that like I just never would have thought that never thought would have happened. And third one's kind of a tough one. It's either a toss up between the T2 or Burger Time, because those are really great. And just Burger Time's like that's one of those games that I've always loved. Burger Time is just so difficult in its simplicity. And I just love that as a game. I think Burger Time's just such a fun arcade game in general. But yeah, I think those would probably be my top ones. Not, Mortal Kombat. That's the goat. I can't really. That's in a level on its own. But yeah, what about you? What are your favorites you own? I think you've got more tabs than me, do, I think.
I don't know about that.
How many you got now? What are you at?
I don't know. I think
You're double
like
digiting at this point. You must be.
I think I'm at like 9 one ups, but I mean like the ones that I get are very like control specific for me most of the time, or like game specific. So like the Atari cab, I actually really liked that cab, but there were things about it that I didn't like really appreciate about it. Like for example, Tempest is a vertical screen game,
Mm.
not
Yeah.
horizontal.
Yep.
And so I was kind of like, I don't get why they came out with a Tempest cab and then used a horizontal screen. But and it didn't have
That's a
it didn't
valid.
have a coin door. But I know you can fix that. And then you did the waterfall mod, which looked beautiful on it. But I think the screen was like the one thing that kind of turned me away from it.
That's a
Uh,
valid complaint. Yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair.
but I wanted real quick. Biggie D said, "Agree with John. DK will never be a one-up cab," and that's pretty. That's pretty much like, I mean, you could say 99.9% true. Like
Oh yeah.
it never
Yeah.
will be unless Nintendo makes it themselves, which has been said before. But anyways, I don't know. As far as like my one-ups go, I would have to say that probably Tron and or Dragon's Lair. It's kind of a tie between those two for me, just because they got the form factor
Mm.
so it was so nicely done, and then the games work great on them. So those were probably like two that I felt like I didn't have to out of the box, like they were good to go. And that's really what I want when I'm getting these smaller size cabs, is I want something that out of the box I don't feel like I have to mod anymore.
Mm.
So I like my big blue, but my big blue is kind of like tricked out in a sense.
Yeah,
uh
you turned that into Darkstalkers, didn't you?
yeah, and then
Didn't
I
you turn
and,
that into something?
and then pretty much a multi cab like Capcom Fighter.
Yeah. Mm.
Um but anyways, so yeah, I've made space for a couple new ones. And so for those of you who've been following the channel, I picked up a Neo Geo and a San Francisco Rush. And you guys, the crazy thing about that is that I was actually able to get those for under $1,000, both of them. And they're both working, which is like the most important thing. Like all the controls work. The whole cab starts up and works with no issues. It's mostly cosmetic stuff. So it was basically like, all right, I'm gonna get rid of a few of my one-ups to make some room for these. And that's been my latest venture. But I just wanted to kind of pull that out of the hat because there's slowly gonna be stuff trickling out. and some videos to come on those. But as far as my 1-ups go, definitely a tie between Tron and Dragon's Lair, and then runner-up would be Big Blue. And then for real life cabs, I think it would be my Neo Geo. And it's way harder to pick with real life cabs because they're not as or you have to be more frugal. But Donkey Kong's a really awesome one, and then the Neo Geo, because it's an MVS, it's a 4-slot MVS, so that's one of the most awesome things about it. And then I think if I got like a real life Big Blue with like Dark Soft in it, that would be pretty sick. So
Yeah. Good selections. I have a question for you when you were talking about Golden Axe. Golden Axe 1 or 2?
uh,
The
Golden Axe,
Genesis.
Golden Axe 1.
Yeah, the first one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Are you talking about Death Adder?
I'm just talking about like in general, which one you like the most? Because that Golden Axe 2, I love Golden Axe 2. Like that was the music. Like I will still just listen to the soundtrack to Golden Axe 2 because the music for that was so good. I'm always curious about that because I find that a lot more people enjoy the first one more. I always preferred the second one. So I was just curious.
Yeah, I liked the second one though. I played the first one way more, I guess. So,
Mm.
but yeah, anyways, I'm seeing like a lot of good stuff in here, and I'm like trying to like follow along with you guys in the chat, and usually I do these shows solo, so I'm kind of like, hold on guys, let me look at this. But I did see Zohar put up something in here about, where was the other one? I'm looking for it. But anyways, if you guys haven't seen Console Fanboy's new game room tour, check it out, fam, because it is top notch. And also, if you guys are not subbed to JC's channel, make sure you give him a sub, because he's going to have stuff trickling out. Top notch, high quality.
I
And
appreciate that. Thank you.
and if you guys want someone who can give you like an honest point of view, I think that he's a good person for that. So, great content creator, very talented. And also, you guys, I just want to mention this really quick. I feel like everybody in here follows Raya, all right? But I could be wrong. Maybe it's not everybody. But if you don't follow Raya Glimmering Harpy, please go give her a follow, because she is she's such a fun streamer, and she's got a great personality, and her content is awesome. She's just fun to watch and fun to hang out with. So please give her a follow. She's getting closer to 1,000 subs. I know she is not far off at all. So if you are not subbed to Raya the Glimmering Harpy, please go give her a sub and help her get to 1,000 subs. With that being said, you guys, and I hope y'all are ready for this, okay? Because it's happening. It's happening right now.
What's happening? What are you up to?
It's on the way, you guys. Okay, no, but seriously, I think that if you are here and you have been entered into it because you entered yourself into it, it's time to talk about the giveaway. So, if you follow my channel, you guys know I am doing a giveaway for Pokken Tournament DX. Now, if you're not a huge Pokemon fan, like not everybody is, it's still a really cool and fun fighting game. So, I am just saying, if you haven't played it, just check it out. At least go check out some YouTube videos on it and see what it looks like, because it is a fun little game. And you guys know me, I love fighters. I'm like... So that's what we are giving away today. And I have got everybody who entered in my system over here, which I am going to pull up right now so that we can do this. And this is it. This is the big spin right now that we are doing, everyone, on this giveaway. And we're going to find out.
I feel like you need a drum roll or something for this.
Right. We're going to find out game time who the winner is going to be, because I've been excited to find out who the winner is going to be. With no riser. With no riser, though. That's a bummer.
Yeah, you can't do that. Yeah, or it does. I don't think it does a light up marquee either, does it? For that.
No.
Yeah. Mm.
I know, I can't do.
But even if you do get a marquee, you're gonna have to replace it with a Retro 530 because the stock marquee on the Tempest is garbage. It's pretty bad.
Okay. Are you guys ready for this? Live. We are doing this live, everyone, to see who the winner is going to be for today's giveaway. And by the way, before I do this, I do want to say thank you to everyone who is subbed, who supports this channel, who has shared my stuff, who is on any of my social media platforms and supports what I'm doing. I very much appreciate it. I really, this is a great outlet for me, and it's a way for me to be creative and also to share with you guys my experiences. And one of the big things for me is sharing inspiration, because that's what I came to YouTube for in the first place, was, inspiration for game room setups, trying to figure out how to do certain things on 1-ups and arcade machines. So thank you very much. Appreciate you all. And now we are going to do the big spin. Hopefully this works though, because we don't, I really just hope we don't have any technical issues. But here we go. And we're off. Oh, who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Oh my god. Biggie was so close. Fenshiro, are you in here? I wonder if I'm even saying that right. How would you say it? Fenshiro?
It looks like Fenshiro to me.
Yeah. Well, Fenshiro, you are the winner. Congratulations. Thank you for your entry and your sub. And I think I said you have 48 hours to claim it. There's 34 likes. Thank you, Pastafarian. So 48 hours, Fenshiro, to claim your prize. And I'm going to do a secondary spin for a runner-up in case Fenshiro does not claim the prize. So drum roll for a runner-up, because here we go. Oh, Realsy's Cuts is the runner-up. Hey. Now, Realsy's Cuts, he's a great channel supporter too. So, Realsy's, thank you for all your channel support. You rock, and are much appreciated as well. Fenshiro, thank you, and congratulations. 48 hours, if not Realsy's Cuts, I will be throwing up something to let you know, hey, if you want to come claim this, because Fenshiro was unable to, I will do that. So, back to the show, everybody. Cool. So, we're going to start wrapping up here, but I want to give John here a moment to talk a little bit more and plug a couple things for himself, his channel. And also, you guys, if you like this type of show, please leave a comment, or leave a comment in the live chat, because I can see it in there as well, or just leave a comment down below and let us know, what you thought, and if you'd like to see future shows like this, where we kind of do this type of thing in collab, etc., etc. So anyways, without further ado, John, the floor is yours.
I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for having me on, and I would love to do this again with you sometime. And thanks for everyone who tuned in. This was a lot of fun. I always love talking about video games, and if you like this sort of like back and forth, like I'm pretty open and honest about everything when I make reviews and stuff like that. So I really try to steer people in the right direction when it comes to spending your hard-earned money on something, and we'll discuss the goods, the pros, the cons, and then just sort of leave it up to you to intelligently decide whether or not something is for you. But if you, I encourage you to check out my channel, JCR here on YouTube. And right now I have a feature film that's out. You can watch it on any streaming platform except for Netflix. I think it's on Tubi, Amazon, PlayStation, Xbox, and it's called My Name is Jonah. It was a documentary that I made. It took like 5 years of my life to make that movie with a group of friends, and we won a bunch of awards for it, and we finally, saw a release for it last year through Cinedigm Distribution, and it's fun. It's basically about a dude in New York who's been making like weird stuff. He's almost like your first sort of cosplayer or like celebrity nerd before that was even a thing. Like from like goes all the way back to like the 70s. And it was a lot of fun to get into that guy's life and sort of document it and learn more about him. And it's a really fun film. Check it out. My Name is Jonah, and stay tuned to my channel. I got some, like Jay was saying, I got some more fun stuff coming out. And yeah, I hope you like this as much as I did. It was a lot of fun.
Yes, it was a good time, and chat, I think, has been loving it. Lots of good comments here, which I am behind on pulling up again, because but it's been an absolute pleasure having you, and of course would love to have you back. And chat,
Anytime.
just heads up, so as far as Linus in the Wild goes, right now I'm looking at like the 30-day mark for recurring episodes. I feel like there's a lot of live streams, and of course there's a lot of support in the community, but also like I don't want to be like overwhelming it every week, because you guys know I'm on Game Time as well, and that is a great thing that we've got going. So but right now we are looking at about once a month for the show, maybe once every 2 weeks. We'll see how everything goes, but it's always going to be something with variety in it. And I think that we had a pretty good split today of like talking about kind of arcadey stuff, but a lot of console stuff, which was fun. So anyways,
There's
yeah,
such history in there too. So much fun to talk about that stuff. There's so much you can do there. There's so much untapped conversations we get into. It's great.
yeah, I agree. It's especially when you have like history with it and experience with
Yeah.
it to match up. So anyways, thank you everyone so much for joining. We very much appreciate you, and thank you again for all the support and subs, and helping get this channel to over 1,000 subs, and for the ongoing support. And I will be periodically releasing content. So yeah, let us know what you think down in the comments. Questions, leave them down there. I try to always get back in there and kind of sort through things and check it out. So y'all have a great night, and until next time, I will see you then.